2020 was a tough year for a lot of us. And don't get me wrong, it wasn't any fun for any of us, but for some of us it was really tough. But the financial hardships from the shutdowns, all the unrest we had here in the U.S. over the summer, and a lot of us lost loved ones last year. So it was a tough year. And I am hoping 2021 is going to be a better year. But I've said before, I have some concerns about the economy going forward, and I still have some concerns. So I want to be as prepared as I can be for whatever comes this coming year, good or bad. And a big part of that for me is just getting back to the basics on hunting in 2021. And what that means for me is focusing on hunting as a means of putting food on the table. And using hunting to just improve my overall quality of life. So eating healthier, getting back into shape. A shape other than this round one I've gotten into over the last couple of years. And using hunting to help out financially by being able to put food on the table and staying out of the grocery store as much. So that's my goals for this coming year, and that's the direction I've been going in for some time anyway. But this year really brought things into focus for me, and it gave me a sense of urgency I hadn't had before. At the same time, I still really enjoy setting up rifles and discussing firearms and cartridges and you name it. Well, just like most of you. So what I have planned for this year, I want to put together a full set of working guns for hunting this year. And for me, that's 4 firearms. That's a shotgun, a .22, and 2 centerfire rifles. With those 4 guns, I'm going to say I can cover any hunting I could possibly want to do this year. And I want to go through the entire process from beginning to end on each of the firearms, why I purchased that one, why I selected it, what I'm trying to do, working up loads, you name it. Then just the entire process. And that's something I think a lot of you would enjoy, and that's something a lot of you newer gun owners, hopefully you can benefit from, and hopefully you experienced ones can, throw me some tips. That's the plan for this year. And keeping, in the spirit of 2020 and now 2021 with all of the shortages and price increases and so forth, I'm going to try to take full advantage of what I already have and make what I have work. So the firearms that I'm picking here, it might not necessarily be my first choice, but this is what I got to work with this year, and I'm going to make it work. We're going to put everything together so that it's going to do what we need it to do. All right, the first firearm on the list is a shotgun. And I have one, but I've got an 870 Remington pump, and I use it for turkey and dove, but I have always wanted a really nice shotgun, either a semi-automatic or a double barrel. And this is one area I'm really hoping to get some advice from those of you that are more knowledgeable than myself. Because on shotguns, I know the basics. I've handled shotguns since I was 8 years old. But I don't know the finer points of shotguns. I know just enough to know I don't know. So again, I'm really hoping for some advice on this. And I would really like to get a shotgun that, reflects the heritage of shotguns here in the U.S. All right. Shotguns here, that was a big thing at one time. And I was fortunate enough to come along, grow up when I did. And I got just a glimpse of how popular, shotguns and bird hunting were at one time here. I seen the last remnants of that before it just really faded away. And what happened, all right, you go back to 1890, we all know about the buffalo and how they were almost exterminated here in the U.S. Well, it wasn't just the buffalo. It was all big game. I mean, there wasn't hardly any big game left in the United States by 1890. That's deer, that's elk, moose, wild turkey. I mean, there was almost nothing left of any of them here. Right? Deer, whitetail deer, they survived in a few isolated pockets, and I do mean isolated. A lot of people thought they were going to go extinct. Right, so my grandfather and great-grandfathers, they didn't hunt big game. There was no big game here to hunt when they were growing up. So you go back from 1900 to 1960s, people bird hunted. That was what was left. Small game and bird hunting, and they absolutely loved their bird hunting. And the bird dogs. That was a big deal back then. Okay. In the 70s, I caught just a glimpse of that, and you know, it really started to fade out as more and more people started hunting big game, because by the 1970s, with various restocking programs, the big game populations started coming back. Okay, but again, I would like a shotgun that kind of pays homage to that, you know, rich heritage of bird hunting here. And it wasn't just here in the U.S., all right? You take the European countries that, you know, they're famous for shotguns. England, Italy, Spain. Well, ain't exactly a lot of big game left there either. So bird hunting's always been popular in those countries. Parts of Canada, plus Canada's, I mean, just such a great population of waterfowl and so forth. Bird hunting's always been big in Canada. But, all right. So a lot of our various countries, you know, have a strong tradition of bird hunting, shotguns, and so forth. And again, I would like a shotgun that reflects that, but I've got to do a lot of research and a lot of studying up and learning. And you know, I'd like to probably get a modern shotgun just for the screw-in chokes, because I need something that I can turkey hunt with, dove hunt, ducks, geese. That's about all I would be hunting. But so yeah, I'm gonna have to learn some stuff on shotguns for that one. Next is a 22, and fortunately I have one of those, but I never finished setting it up from last year. So I'm going to finish setting this up, and this is going to be the first project because it's squirrel season now, and that's what I want the 22 for, small game, squirrels in particular. And I know a lot of you don't really care about small game, but there's a lot of history that goes with them also. Right back during the Great Depression. Remember what I said about there wasn't any large game? Small game's what put food on the table for a lot of people during the Great Depression. So that's squirrels, rabbits, possums, raccoons, basically anything anybody could shoot and bring home. All right. And my pappy, which was my great-grandfather, and I was fortunate enough to know him growing up, his favorite meal was squirrel dumplings. Okay, and if you go back far enough, they weren't eating chicken dumplings, they were eating squirrel dumplings. You take a couple of squirrels, throw them in a stew, you know, add some potatoes and onions, and you're eating good for a few days. So yeah, there's not much meat to them. That's where the stews come in. And a lot of you have probably heard of Brunswick stew. And that's a tomato-based stew that's pretty popular in parts of the U.S. Well, the original ingredients for Brunswick stew was primarily squirrel, and then whatever other small game you could throw in there. That's where Brunswick stew came from. So squirrel hunting was a big thing here, going back even to the colonial days. As a matter of fact, why do you think the Kentucky long rifle evolved like it did? It became longer, more accurate, and a smaller bore. Well, they weren't going to that smaller bore for big game. That was for small game, and they ate a lot of squirrels back then. So those squirrels, that's still a good way to put some fresh meat on the table. And for me, it's important for me to have a 22 and do some squirrel hunting from time to time. I enjoy eating them still. So we're going to finish this one up and take it into the field. All right, now for the 2 centerfire rifles. And I'm doing 2. I could do 1 if I had to. And we're going to talk about this a lot more later on. I've had some pretty interesting thoughts on versatility on rifles and having 1 rifle versus 2. And there, again, we're going to get into this later. But I want 2. And the 2 I've picked, the first one's this FN Supreme with the commercial M98 Mauser action. All right, I still haven't fired this one. And I'm going to set this up to be just one really great woods rifle. So for any of you that are thinking about hunting, all right, this could be any old rifle. Okay, this could be an old Model 700, a Model 77, Model 70, an old military rifle, old Mauser 98, 303 British Lee Enfield. This could be any old rifle. And this one's got some age on it. So on this one, I'm going to go through, set this one up, and just absolutely turn it into a perfect woods gun for deer. And I'm also going to refinish the stock on this one like a lot of you would want to do on an old rifle. We're going to see just, how good can this rifle look when we're done. So that's part of it. And then the other part of it is this Winchester Model 70 Westerner here, 270. And I've discussed it briefly, but I haven't fired this one yet either. And I'm going to turn this into a long range, just absolutely flat shooting deer rifle. And between and the FN's in 30-06. Well, the great thing about 30-06 is you can download it if you want to, and that's what I plan on doing with this one. I'm going to download it some and turn it into a woods rifle. And then I'm going to have this one set up for distance. And that's the great thing about 2 rifles is you're not trying to make 1 rifle and 1 cartridge do it all. When you have 2, you can set them up specifically for different roles. And again, we're going to really get into that later. We're going to go deep on that one. But that's going to be my 4 working guns, my set for this coming year. And again, each one of them, we're really going to go into detail on all of them. So that's the plans for this coming year. And I'm still going to be trying to put some meat in the freezer along the way. And, we're going to do some other videos in between projects and so forth. Hey, we might even take a fishing trip or 2 this spring. But that's where we're at now, or at least the plans. But if last year taught me anything, it's things don't always turn out like we plan. So I'm going to be prepared to roll with whatever, but that's what we're working on. And now for some quick channel business. Okay, a lot of you may have noticed ads at the beginning of videos. Well, basically what that boils down to is I'm actually going to get a little money from YouTube from the ads. So the videos are monetized. And I mean, with the size of this channel, I might make enough to buy a box of ammo in 6 months. I mean, if I can find any ammo. But I wanted to let y'all know, because I've never thought of this as my channel. Every one of you contribute to it, whether you realize it or not. When you watch a video, you're contributing to the channel. When you subscribe, when you like videos, when you comment, you're contributing. And without all of you, this is just me sitting here talking to a camera. I mean, just bottom line. So I want to let y'all know what's going on business-wise with the channel, and, all that good stuff. And if you ever have any questions about anything, just ask. I mean, we're not hiding anything here. So, and again, I just wanted to let y'all know that. And one last thing, I do worry that my priorities might change over time, because I've watched a lot of channels on YouTube over time, And I've seen them start out with really interesting, good content. And as their channels grew, well, their channels turned into something that just I didn't like. So if that starts happening here, I'm depending on y'all to let me know. Keep me straight. Okay, I really hope y'all enjoyed that, and I hope y'all are as excited about this coming year as I am. And don't forget to hit the like button. Let YouTube know you like hunting and shooting videos. And if you want to see, you know, how these projects play out and all that, hit the subscribe button and notification bell. God bless, and have a good day.